Welcome to IGN's Best Sports Video Game Showdown, presented by the US Army.
If the title didn't clue you in, today we will be building the ultimate bracket for the best sports video game of all time.
That's right, we've spent countless hours handpicking 32 of the greatest sports games in history.
Are 2 hours countless?
Well, I mean, you got to include lunch, and then I got a phone call, and that went a really long time. Anyway, I lost track, so technically, yes, it was countless.
That's right, we've spent countless hours handpicking 32 of the greatest sports games in history and dividing them into 4 thrilling categories: traditional sports titles, arcade sports titles, racing and fighting titles, and a wildcard bracket that serves as a home for every game that didn't fit into one of the other regions.
Oh, you know, like lawn darts, cornhole, and competitive cup stacking.
Can't leave out cup stacking, but the decision on which game is truly best is up to you, our audience. Yes, you! And do you think you have what it takes to predict the winner of the best sports game of all time?
Definitely.
Oh, I was talking to them at home.
That's right, Alan. And the stakes are high. The winner will receive an Xbox Series X, a PS5, and 32 sports games, plus a one-of-a-kind IGN Champions jersey to show off their victory.
And to participate, all you have to do is visit bestsportsgame.ign.com between Friday, March 24th and Tuesday, March 28th and submit your predictions for the bracket.
And once the polling begins on each matchup, you'll score points for each correct prediction. So don't forget to check your ranking on the leaderboard after each round of voting.
And even if you don't come out on top, there is still a chance to win. 10 runner-ups will receive a $100 gift card to the digital video game store of their choice.
And which store is your choice?
It's gotta be Steam,
It's
or
a
reliable.
Good choice. So what are you waiting for? Visit bestsportsgame.ign.com, make your predictions, and show us your sports game knowledge. Good luck.
Now, before we dive into the bracket, we want to acknowledge that there are obviously a ton of great sports games that didn't make the cut. The games were selected and seeded by an assortment of IGN staff, including, but not limited to, our publisher, our head of features, and our head of social media.
That's correct. We wanted to make sure we had a good mix of opinions and perspectives when it came to selecting the games.
We took into account a number of factors when choosing the games, such as overall critical consensus, IGN staff favorites, and the game and franchise's overall popularity.
And it was decided that franchises could only have one representative each, so each selection would serve as the face of that series. For example, MVP Baseball 2005 represents the entire Triple Play/MVP series.
Sometimes we had to make some tough decisions in the interest of creating more engaging matchups, which meant that some games fell out of the top 8.
We had to balance having a critically comprehensive selection of games versus trying to skew only towards titles from the past 5 years.
With that out of the way, and to keep us on track, we have some special guests joining us today.
That's right, we have members of the US Army esports team to represent the voice of the people. We're checking in with them at the end of each region, and they'll remind us what games didn't make the cut.
And to make sure that we don't accidentally include Slam City with Scottie Pippen.
But I do like that game.
That is a great game. All right, to summarize, 32 games have been selected across 4 regions with the matchups determined by seeding. The top seed will play against the 8th seed, the 2nd against the 7th, and so on. And by the way, no mobile games allowed.
And I'll put my phone away. Without further ado, let's play Bracket Ball.
Did you say basketball?
Bracket Ball.
Well, I am excited to dive into the first region of our bracket, the traditional sports titles.
We've carefully selected 8 games representing the cream of the crop in traditional sports video games. From basketball to baseball to football, these games have stood the test of time and continue to be popular amongst players today, both in the real and virtual world.
We've got some heavy hitters in this bracket like NBA 2K, FIFA, and Madden. These games have set the standard for their respective sports and continue to be the go-to choice for players looking for a realistic sports experience.
I'm sure there may be some disagreements from our audience on selections and egregious omissions, and we get it, this is subjective, but we made our choices based on the game's overall popularity, longevity, and impact on the genre.
So, sit back, relax, and stretch so you don't pull a hammy as we build the bracket and determine the layout of the traditional sports titles region.
Kicking off our first matchup in Region 1, Madden NFL 2005 was the 16th iteration of the Madden NFL franchise, which started in 1988. Overall, Madden NFL 2005 was a significant step forward for the franchise and was well received by both fans and critics.
Its impact on gaming culture cannot be understated, as the Madden NFL franchise remains one of the most popular and successful sports video game franchises to this day.
And going up against Madden is a challenge to say the least, but our next game is up for it, I think.
Does the audience agree that ESPN NFL tackles Madden in our first bracket?
That is right, we've got ESPN NFL 2K5 going head-to-head with Madden NFL. This series had a great run, but it unfortunately came to an end in 2005 with the release of ESPN NFL 2K5.
This series was a strong contender against Madden NFL and was known for its realistic gameplay, detailed player models, and innovative features like the 1st and 10 line marker.
Before Madden NFL's exclusive hold on the NFL game licenses, ESPN NFL was one of the top competitors in the football gaming genre. The series was praised for its realistic gameplay, entertainment features, and affordable price point. It created a lot of buzz in the gaming community and sparked a rivalry between fans of both series. You Madden, bro?
No, I'm ESPN NFL 2K5. Although the series is no longer in production, ESPN NFL 2K5 remains a classic and is still remembered as one of the best football video games ever made. It could very well upset Madden.
You think so?
Yeah, why not? Our next matchup features the most beautiful game. It's the soccer sim, the game where people race around the field trying to get a ball to go into the opposing team's goal.
FIFA 12, released in 2011, was a landmark entry in the immensely popular FIFA franchise. This iteration brought many improvements and new features, including improved AI, better ball physics, and a new impact engine.
FIFA 12 was a major milestone in the FIFA franchise, and it is widely regarded as one of the best entries in the series. It raised the bar for soccer simulations in video games and solidified FIFA's place in sports video game history.
With its improved gameplay, realistic simulation, and massive popularity, FIFA 12 has the potential to win the bracket and be remembered as one of the best sports video games of all time. Its impact on gaming culture and its continued legacy as a fan favorite make it formidable in this tournament.
On the other side of the matchup, the most beautiful game. Wait, I did already say that. Oh, wait, it's another soccer sim game, Pro Evolution Soccer 2016.
Yeah, seen as a top competitor to the FIFA franchise, Pro Evolution Soccer 2016 is known for its focus on realistic gameplay and mechanics. It's a fan favorite among soccer enthusiasts who appreciate its more simulation-style approach to the sport.
Pro Evolution Soccer 2016, despite being in a crowded market dominated by FIFA, stands out as a true underdog. It may not have the big budget or licensing of FIFA, but it offers a more refined and authentic soccer experience that has earned it a dedicated following and recognition as a strong contender in the genre.
Yeah, and despite its smaller following compared to FIFA, PES has consistently been recognized as a top-tier sports video game. Its focus on technical and tactical play sets it apart from other soccer games, and its strong player AI and ball physics make it a compelling choice for sports game fans.
Sure, the gameplay and graphics are clean, but I love getting messy.
And I love that joke. Our next matchup dribbles onto the court with NBA 2K14.
Developed by Visual Concepts and published by 2K Sports, NBA 2K14 is the 14th installment in the NBA 2K series and is widely considered to be one of the best basketball video games of all time, offering a highly realistic and immersive basketball experience.
This game features an extensive roster of NBA teams and players and allows gamers to create their own custom players and teams. Additionally, the game has a deep and engaging career mode, as well as a wide range of multiplayer options.
NBA 2K14 was highly praised for its accurate representation of the sport, attention to detail, and overall fun gameplay, making it a safe choice to bet on.
So, the game going up against NBA 2K may have the hardest intro music ever for a golf game. It's Tiger Woods' PGA Tour 2004. And besides the killer DMX track, why do we think it's bracket worthy? Also, where are my dogs at?
You know what? Both good questions, Alan. Tiger Woods' PGA Tour 2004 was a landmark game in the world of sports video games. It had a level of realism and immersion that had never been seen before.
And that is saying something considering some of the other games in this region.
Absolutely, but what set Tiger Woods apart was its attention to detail. The courses were incredibly accurate and the swing mechanics were intuitive and rewarding.
You could play as the GOAT Tiger himself, right?
What's a GOAT Tiger? Oh, is that like a customizable character?
There were different game modes, including career mode and tournament mode, as well as customizable characters, not including Go Tiger, and even mini-games like long drive and closest to the pin.
Exactly, and even if you weren't a big golf fan, the game was still accessible and fun to play. That's what makes it a bracket-worthy game in my book.
Cool story, bro, but what is the final matchup of the traditional sports titles region?
Our final matchup in the traditional sports bracket swings in with MVP Baseball 2005.
Released for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox in 2005, this was the second installment in the popular MVP Baseball franchise and was known for its fast-paced gameplay as well as its deep and intuitive franchise mode.
The game introduced a number of new modes, including home run derby, pickup games, and a batter versus pitcher mode that allowed players to directly control the at-bat in real time. It also improved on its franchise mode by adding in more realistic player contracts, player progression, and aging. Aging in video games is the one thing you're not meant to do.
Are you okay, dude?
Yeah.
MVP Baseball 2005 was highly praised for its realistic gameplay, accurate representation of baseball, and deep franchise mode. It was considered a great traditional sports game and received positive reviews from both fans and critics alike.
That may be true, but it's a whole new ball game with its competitor.
Rollerball!
What?
Oh, you said its competitor, it's like a whole new ball game? Is it like futuristic, like Rollerball?
No, I was trying to be clever, and it's another baseball game. That's right, our third matchup is Baseball v Baseball, with MVP going head-to-head against MLB The Show 21.
MLB The Show 21 brought several new and improved features to the popular franchise, such as a flexible stadium creator, which allows players to customize their stadium in various ways, from altering seating arrangements to creating entire cities in the background.
Another significant improvement in MLB The Show 21 was its accessibility for both Xbox and PlayStation owners. This made it possible for players to go head-to-head with their favorite teams, regardless of their platform of choice. Additionally, the game introduced 3 distinct difficulty modes and in-depth tutorial cards, making it easier for new players to break into its complex game modes.
The game received positive reviews, with IGN giving it an 8 out of 10. The review stated that MLB The Show 21 isn't the generational leap forward we might have expected following a new console launch, but it's still the best baseball sim you can play on any platform.
Overall, MLB The Show 21 is a great representation of the franchise and a testament to its commitment to improving the baseball gaming experience for its players.
And there you have it, our traditional sports bracket has been built out and there are a lot of interesting round 1 matchups, but the best is yet to come. If the bracket plays out the way that I think it will, we could have a football on football matchup, FIFA versus Madden.
Ooh, a real matchup football. Which sport uses their feet the most? Controversial. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this pairing is inevitable given their popularity. It's going to be interesting to see which game the audience votes for, and we can finally learn which of these two games is the one true football.
Now, before we keep the bracket train going, let's check in with Staff Sergeant Edwards with the U.S. Army esports team to learn what traditional sports game didn't make the cut.
Hey, Staff Sergeant Edwards, before you get into what game didn't make the cut, what are you most proud of from your time in the Army?
Hey, Alan and Ben. Great to be here. I'm Staff Sergeant Joseph Edwards, aka Average Joey B from Spring Hill, Tennessee. I come from a family that has proudly served in the military, so enlisting just felt right for me. There are a lot of things I take pride in from my time in the Army. From working in the Pentagon, being a member of the U.S. Army esports team for one of my favorite games, Rocket League, to exploring the world and seeing places I never thought I would see, like the IGN studio. I truly am being all I can be. Now, let's get down to the bracket. You've got some great picks, and it couldn't have been easy to build with so many awesome titles out there to choose from. But I have a game to bring up that was left out and deserves a shout out. Joe Montana Sports Talk Football. Joe Montana Sports Talk Football was notable for being one of the first sports games to feature voice commentary from the legend himself, which, in addition to the gameplay mechanics and the freedom to choose from a variety of different teams and players, made it one of the most realistic football games of its time. Despite its many strengths, Joe Montana Sports Talk Football ultimately didn't make the cut because of the game's impact, while notable, wasn't as long-lasting as some of the other games featured in traditional sports region. Nonetheless, it remains a classic example of a sports game that pushed the boundaries of what was possible at the time of its release. I can't wait to see what's happening in the next bracket. Back to you guys.
Let's not forget the reason for the season. If you were just tuning in, welcome to IGN's Best Sports Video Games Showdown presented by the US Army, where we, as you might have guessed, are figuring out the greatest sports game of all time, but we're not doing it alone.
That's right, we're just building the bracket. It's up to you to decide who wins. Just visit bestsportsgame.ign.com once we're done building the bracket for a chance to score big and make your way up the leaderboards.
That takes the pressure off of us and puts it all on you. So, if you're disappointed in the results, then the only one you can blame is yourself for not doing your part.
And for doing your part, you'll have a chance to win our grand prize. The winner will receive an Xbox Series X, a PS5, and 32 sports games, plus a one-of-a-kind IGN Champions jersey to show off their victory.
That's right, and to participate, all you have to do is visit bestsportsgame.ign.com between Friday, March 24th and Tuesday, March 28th, and submit your predictions for the bracket.
Once the polling begins on each matchup, you'll score points for each correct prediction, so don't forget to check your ranking on the leaderboards after each round of voting.
And even if you don't come out on top, there is still a chance to win. 10 runner-ups will receive a $100 gift card to the digital video game store of their choice.
So what are you waiting for? Visit bestsportsgame.ign.com, make your predictions, and show us your sports game knowledge.
We just wrapped up our traditional sports titles, but now we are rolling up our sleeves and getting a little silly.
Well, that's my favorite way to be. We're moving on to our arcade sports titles, and by arcadey titles, we're talking about games that put a spin on traditional sports by giving them a more pick-up-and-play feel.
But we've also got classic staples like Mario Tennis and Super Mega Baseball. But enough spoilers and talk, let's get down to business. Our first game needs no introduction.
Oh, okay. Well, I had something pretty clever written. Fine. Our first game is NHL 94.
This classic ice hockey game was developed and released by Electronic Arts in 1993. NHL 94 is considered to be one of the most influential and beloved sports video games of all time.
So, why does NHL 94 matter? Well, for starters, it's considered by many to be the golden era of hockey video games. The arcade-style gameplay and fast-paced action set the standard for future hockey games and earned it a huge following amongst gamers and hockey fans alike. And why could NHL 94 win the whole bracket?
Simple. It's legacy. Despite being over 25 years old, NHL 94 remains a fan favorite among gamers and hockey enthusiasts. Its impact on the gaming industry and its continued popularity make it a strong contender for the title.
Most fans will remember NHL 94's iconic co-starring role in Swingers, where Vince Vaughn reminded us you can make their little heads bleed.
I never watched that movie, but I guess I'll take your word for it. Here's so money. There's an NHL team in Vegas, baby. Vegas!
So you never saw Swingers, huh?
Nope. Baby, your money.
Oh, well, just got awkward. Anyway, let's see who's facing off against NHL.
Tecmo Super Bowl was first released in 1991 for the Nintendo Entertainment System and is the sequel to the popular Tecmo Bowl. Tecmo Super Bowl offers players the option to choose from all NFL teams with complete rosters and allows gamers to trade players or switch positions to keep the rosters updated. Players can also modify the pre-programmed ratings to better suit their playstyle.
But if there's one thing players will remember from Super Tecmo Bowl, it's Tecmo Bo, as in Bo Jackson.
That's right. Bo Jackson was the ultimate cheat code in Tecmo Super Bowl. Fast, strong, unstoppable, handing it off to Bo almost always resulted in a touchdown.
Thanks to its impact on gaming culture and its enduring popularity, Tecmo Super Bowl is a strong contender in the arcade sports region. Its nostalgic appeal, innovative gameplay, and accurate representation of NFL teams and players make it a possible winner of the bracket.
Yeah, I fully agree. Our next matchup is a clash between two of the most sporty Mario games ever released.
Mario Golf World Tour takes all the wacky antics you'd expect from a game with Mario in the title and makes it portable.
This 3DS game excels at transforming golf newbies into pros with excellent level progression through its generous amount of content.
Mario Golf World Tour rewards skillful play and expects you to keep up with all the added mechanics on every course, from avoiding cacti, adding spin to the ball, and taking advantage of wind direction. Its complexity is enough to bring a tear to a pro golfer's eye.
With its entertaining and addictive gameplay, Mario Golf has the potential to win the arcade sports region.
This bracket is really heating up.
Yeah, and you know what rhymes with bracket? Racket!
That's a perfect segue to the challenger. Mario Tennis Aces, which released for the Nintendo Switch in 2018.
With simple yet realistic play control and brutally fast gameplay, the game offers a thrilling experience for players of all ages. Players can participate in single and doubles matches, practice, sets, tournaments, challenge modes, and more, making the game a comprehensive tennis experience.
What sets Mario Tennis Aces apart from other sports games is its creative blend of classic Mario elements with fast-paced tennis action. It also helps that the game is portable, letting you take to the net wherever you go.
So no matter what happens in this matchup, we know one thing for sure.
Mario is walking away the winner.
And in the immortal words of Mario, let's go!
I think you'll find it's let's go!
I'll give it to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Our next game probably won't have any trouble standing up for itself. In fact, it might throw a few punches before the round is up. I'm talking, of course, about NFL Blitz, the League 2.
Blitz the League 2 takes all of the post-play late hit power bombs and cranks it up to 11 with a dedicated injury minigame where you target a player's limbs and wail on them with a cleat or helmet to give your team an advantage on the field.
Speaking of advantages, players can power up their roster of football players using performance enhancers with the potential of harmful side effects. Well, there you go. So at least there's a lesson there somewhere. I think we know how this matchup is going to shake up, but surprise us, the call is on you at home to rock the vote.
And now it's time to shift our focus to its opponent, another quarter-gobbling classic arcade game, Golden Tee. This game has been a staple in bars and arcades for over 2 decades and continues to be a fan favorite.
Its innovative trackball control system, we remember that one, and the ability to customize shots, combined with its vibrant graphics and tournament play options, have made it incredibly popular and widely played. The game's longevity and continued relevance in the arcade scene are the testament to its impact on gaming culture.
Yep, golf games are tight.
True that, homie.
Our final one-on-one is a 2v2 versus a 3v3.
I'm confused.
NBA Jam Tournament Edition was the 1994 iteration of the popular arcade-style basketball game franchise. It was developed by Midway Games and became one of the most iconic and well-known games of its time. Known for its fast-paced, over-the-top action and its exaggerated physics, it allowed players to perform spectacular dunks and make seemingly impossible shots.
The fast-paced and intense gameplay with a court limited to just 4 players keeps the action moving and makes shooting hoops an incredibly fun experience. NBA Jam Tournament Edition's simplicity in design, combined with the outrageous dunks and special effects, add to its overall wackiness and appeal. As a result, it's not just a hit with sports fans, but with anyone who loves a good, fun, and entertaining game. Its appeal and impact on the arcade-style sports genre mean that NBA Jam Tournament Edition is still on fire. Get it? That's what they say in the game.
Oh, I get it. And up against it is another classic basketball game. NBA Street Volume 2 takes everything good about the original game and improves on it in every single way, taking the professional sport of basketball and adding a silly, cartoonish twist, complete with lightning-fast gameplay and over-the-top tricks that'll leave you grinning from ear to ear.
NBA Street Volume 2 also places an emphasis on looking cool at all times, just like me. Ooh. With trick multipliers to ensure that you look as stylish as possible as you make your way across the court to dunk on some poor fool.
In addition to a fully fleshed out single player mode full of even more zany fun as you make a name for yourself as a rookie on the street, the game also has plenty to offer for those who just want a rock solid basketball game.
In fact, IGN gave it a 9.4, calling NBA Street Volume 2 one of our favorite games of 2003. EA usually has top-notch production elements regardless of genre, but the development team in Canada has set a new standard for keeping a consistent theme running through every element of the game.
Now, before we move on to our next bracket, we need to check in with Specialist Harrop with the US Army esports team to learn what arcade-style game didn't make the cut and why.
But before we do, Specialist Harrop, what inspired you to join the Army?
Hey Alan and Ben, awesome to be here. I'm Specialist Nicholas Harrop, aka Hakashi, originally from Cape Coral, Florida. I joined to tap into the countless possibilities the Army provides. I've been able to build a rewarding career, continue my education, and experience things I didn't even know were possible. For instance, who would have thought I'd be playing Rocket League for the US Army esports team, or here at IGN telling you guys what game you left off this bracket? Speaking of which, you can't say arcade sports games without mentioning Super Mega Baseball 3. The game's exaggerated and over-the-top gameplay mechanics, combined with its cartoonish graphics and simple controls, make it a popular choice for both casual and hardcore players. It boasts an extensive customization system, allowing players to create and manage their own team, from customizing their logos and uniforms to selecting their players' stats and skills. It also includes a new gameplay mode, Ego, that allows players to adjust the difficulty level to match their own skill level. Plus, the game's simple one-button batting and pitching make it easy for players to pick up and play. That's all I got. Now back to you in the studio for the next bracket.
If you are just tuning in, you might be wondering, what the heck am I watching?
This is IGN's Best Sports Video Games Showdown, presented by the US Army.
After the bracket is built, we'll be opening up voting at bestsportsgame.ign.com, and the winner will receive an Xbox Series X, a PS5, and 32 sports games.
Plus a one-of-a-kind IGN Champions jersey to show off your victory.
And to participate, all you have to do is visit bestsportsgame.ign.com between Friday, March 24th and Tuesday, March 28th and submit your predictions for the bracket.
Once the polling begins on each matchup, you'll score points for each correct prediction you make. So don't forget to check your ranking on the leaderboard after each round of voting.
And even if you don't come out on top, there's still a chance to win. 10 runner-ups will receive a $100 gift card to the digital video game store of their choice.
Visit bestsportsgame.ign.com, make your predictions, and show us your sports games knowledge.
We've already mapped out the competitors in our traditional sports and arcade sports regions, but it's time we hit the road with racing and fighting games.
Remind me, why'd we pair racing and fighting games?
Because racing games are kind of like fistfights with cars? I don't know, or maybe we have a lot of games in genres to look at and only 4 brackets available. The only caveat is we are talking about actual sports fighting games. Basically, if you can throw an energy ball of any sort, you are disqualified. Sorry, Street Fighter.
Sounds logical enough to me, but I will miss the sonic boom! But let's get on with Region 3, which brings the heat with high-octane action full of burning rubber and flying fisticuffs. Introducing our competitors.
Our first game in the region scored a 10 out of 10 and Game of the Year in 2021.
So buckle up and let's get ready to hit the road in Forza Horizon 5.
Forza Horizon 5 allows you to kick the tires on cars I know I can't afford.
That's right, you drive a piece of junk. Others might argue that a racing game is only as good as the racing, and thankfully Forza Horizon 5 is good at that too. Whether you're looking to drift your way through a multi-lap circuit or pull off movie-style stunts that send a car hundreds of feet into the air, that's just the single-player stuff. In multiplayer, you can of course race against friends in those same races, but what truly sets Forza Horizon 5 apart is how it tracks your stats as you play, forever incentivizing players to try and do just a little bit better than your friends.
Forza Horizon 5 is known for its gorgeous graphics and open-world gameplay. On the other hand, its competitor in this bracket is a more realistic Forza title. It's Forza Motorsport 7.
You know you have an awesome IP when 2 of your titles are duking it out for the best sports game of all time.
Agreed. Forza Motorsport as a franchise is known for showcasing the broadest selection of retro and modern vehicles on the market. You can also take on career mode for a fairly linear and structured single-player experience.
This game doubled down on car collecting for enthusiasts, allowing you to unlock new tiers of sick rides as your garage grows. IGN said Forza Motorsport 7 functions just as well as a virtual car museum as it does a video game. It's a love letter to speed and style.
This is no doubt a race too close to call. If you were to place your bets, who do you think will pull ahead?
Definitely one of them.
That is objectively a correct answer. My hype for the first game in our next matchup is grand, and there is more excitement on the way. Turismo, to be exact. That's right. Our next matchup is revving up with Gran Turismo. Get it? 3, A-Spec. This entry in the GT franchise featured over 150 cars, 60 professional and amateur championship races, plus 20 endurance and rally races.
IGN's review gave Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec a 9.8, praising how it pushes PS2 software to new heights, and despite only having about a third of the car count found in its predecessor, it packs a far greater racing challenge.
On top of 80s car races, British GT contests, roadsters, and more, GT3 also has an F1 championship with 10 different races, each one ranging from 25 to 78 laps each. Altogether, this championship series alone takes about 10 hours to finish. And for those that can't complete it in one go, don't worry. GT3 lets you save during a championship and come back later. That might not sound like much now, but back in 2001, that was a big deal.
It was a big deal. So Gran Turismo pushed racing realism to new heights, and our next game takes that realism and takes it to the wonderful world of F1.
F1 2010 is a thrilling racing game that brings the excitement of the Grand Prix to life. The tracks are depicted with precision and personality, including the Monaco circuit, which is a benchmark in the genre. Some other standout circuits, such as the Singapore's Night Race and Abu Dhabi's Yas Marina, are especially noteworthy for their lighting and stunning visuals.
The game's dynamic weather system is amongst the best in the genre, with clouds that drift across the tracks and ambient temperature having a noticeable effect on track action. The game captures the thrill and excitement of Formula One racing with an exacting approach by a development team that understands what makes F1 tick.
This, along with its superior driving mechanics, has resulted in F1 2010 being considered a stellar Grand Prix game.
And which is your favorite to drive?
The one with the wheels?
Yeah, that's a good one. Up next is a battle of the two most extreme ends of racing and fighting game spectrums. What MMA is to boxing, the gameplay of Need for Speed is to pure racing on display in Forza and Gran Turismo.
Need for Speed Hot Pursuit offers both traditional racing and police pursuit modes where players could either compete against each other on tracks or play as the police to try to take down racers.
This 2010 Spike Game Award winner also features a wide selection of licensed cars, including high-end sports cars, supercars, and muscle cars, each with its own unique handling and performance characteristics.
Now, in terms of playstyle, Hot Pursuit emphasized a fast-paced, arcade-style racing experience with tight controls and intense, high-speed chases. These elements combined to make it a standout racing game.
Need for Speed's competitor isn't going down without a fight. UFC Undisputed 3 provides players all over the world the biggest bang for their buck, with a staggering amount of content to dive into while turning the brutal sport of UFC into an accessible game for newcomers and veterans alike.
Yeah, and it's all thanks to the amateur and pro grappling control sets, leveling the playing field for anyone who decides to play.
IGN gave UFC Undisputed 3 a 9 out of 10, noting that it is the deepest and most realistic MMA experience around.
It's gonna be a tough battle. If I was a betting man, I'd put my money on Need for Speed just on sheer value of name recognition alone. So, what will the folks at home have to say about this one? Quick, Ben, tell me!
I can't grapple with that question! Wrapping up our matchups for racing and fighting game region, in this corner, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!
Mike Tyson's Punch-Out may be over 30 years old, but it still manages to punch above its weight class and cement itself as one of the most iconic games of all time. Sure, some of that might be due to the fact that it was part of the staples of the NES library, thus earning it a ton of nostalgia points.
But nostalgia only gets you so far. Like most games of its era, it was hard. As Little Mac, you go toe-to-toe with cartoonish fighters looking to leave you black and blue. Fortunately, each of these opponents feature their own tell, allowing Little Mac a fighting chance in the ring.
Unfortunately, those tells don't always make themselves readily apparent, basically guaranteeing a loss against new fighters. This system of trial and error leads to some frustrating roadblocks, but those that manage to go the distance and walk away with a win against all 14 opponents, including Mike Tyson himself, will understand the complete stranglehold this game held on kids back in the 80s.
And in this corner, released in 2009, Electronic Arts Fight Night Round 4. Turns out, if you manage to make a game 4 times, you get pretty good at it, and it's exactly what EA Canada did with the 4th entry in the Fight Night series.
In direct contrast to Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, Fight Night Round 4 cranks the realism up to the max with devastating punches, realistic sweat, and gross-looking bruises. Aside from stamina, you'll also need strategy to take your opponents down.
The road to success is paved with a repertoire of hooks, jabs, uppercuts, straights, and of course, haymakers! But you can't go throwing out blows willy-nilly. Knowing when to unleash each strike is half the battle.
But who will be down for the count?
And who will walk away with the title?
And can we cram any more boxing phrases into this part of the show?
Go for it! That's from Rocky V.
That's not a quote, that's just something people say.
Google it.
No, we've set the stage. Who will be a contender and who is getting counted out? The choice is yours. Let's move on.
Go for it! Like Rocky V!
Let's just keep the show running.
Before we move on to our final region, let's check back in with Staff Sergeant Edwards from the US Army esports team to learn what game didn't make the cut.
Also, Staff Sergeant Edwards, what possibilities have you been able to explore as part of the US Army?
Hey Alan and Ben, esports requires discipline, focus, and teamwork, which are essential qualities for any soldier. While striving to be all I can be, I've competed against skilled players of all levels and worked with teammates to build trust and better communication. Overall, being a part of the US Army esports team is an important part of my journey to be all I can be. Personally, I only enjoy playing games with other people, whether it's connecting with a community of fellow soldiers or randos alike. It challenges me, helps me grow, and connects me with a community of like-minded individuals who want to be the best. Now, on to the game that was all it could be, but didn't quite make the cut. In most racing games, your goal is to cross the finish line, preferably in first. But in Burnout 3 Takedown, your goal is to crash as many things as possible and rack up a hefty bill. Yeah, sure, there's a race mode, but Burnout 3 made big waves with its inclusion of crash mode. Burnout 3 transformed car crashes into an art form, with an added dash of strategy that leaves you saying, one more time. But I guess this isn't one of those times. Back to you in the studio.
If you're just tuning in, where have you been? Doesn't matter, you're here now. Welcome to IGN's Best Sports Video Game Showdown, presented by the US Army.
All show long, we've been building a bracket to find out once and for all the age-old question. What is the best sports video game of all time?
And as our partners from the US Army esports team have been reminding us, we know we're benching some great titles. But hey, we only have 32 spots on this bracket. Maybe we'll expand the bracket when we do this next year. IGN's Best Sports Video Game Showdown 2024, presented by the US Army.
Hey, slow your roll, partner. Let's
will not.
focus on 2023. So far, we've stacked the regions for traditional sports, arcade sports, and racing and fighting. And there are some exciting matchups right at the start. But it's time to complete our final region of the bracket.
Wildcard games. Who will win?
In the wildcard region, it's anyone's game. Like a wildcard. Who's writing this stuff? And the decision of who wins is up to you at home.
That's right, you at home, or possibly on the go, watching from your phone. Oh no, pay attention to the road!
The point is that we are not deciding the best sports video game. You are. After the bracket is built in today's live show, we'll be opening up voting at bestsportsgame.ign.com.
Do you think you have what it takes to predict the winner of the best sports game of all time? Well, the winner will receive an Xbox Series X, a PS5, and 32 sports games, plus a one-of-a-kind IGN Champions jersey to show off their victory.
That's right. And to participate, all you have to do is visit bestsportsgame.ign.com between Friday, March 24th and Tuesday, March 28th and submit your predictions for the bracket.
And once the polling begins on each matchup, you'll score points for each correct prediction you make. So don't forget to check your ranking on the leaderboard after each round of voting.
And even if you don't come out on top, there's still a chance to win. 10 runner-ups will receive a $100 gift card to the digital video game store of their choice.
So what are you waiting for? Visit bestsportsgame.ign.com, make your predictions, and show us your sports games knowledge. Let's wrap this up with our final region, the wildcard, or as I like to call it, the games beyond categorization.
Now, let's categorize it. Region 4 is a high adrenaline grab bag of extreme sports and the exciting world of middle sports management. Ready to find out if your favorite game made the list?
Our first title in the wildcard region is iconic in its own right, and one that I expect can go the distance in the bracket.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the definitive party game racer that's pick up and play for anyone within controller pairing distance.
This deceptively deep racer takes the mainstream appeal of Mario and combines it with an over-the-top go-kart madness.
What separates this racer from other games in the bracket is the inclusion of power-ups. Koopa shells, fireballs, and more can turn the tides of a race at any given moment. There is a reason why the blue shell is known as a thing to fear by gamers and non-gamers alike.
And don't even get me started on course design. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe features all the prestigious courses from previous Mario Kart games, turning this into a superstar showcase of the series.
And DLC level packs keep this title relevant to this very day, making it one of the strongest competitors in this bracket. Moving on to our next entry in the wildcard region, Wii Sports, the game that took the world by storm for years and probably the reason why your grandparents still own a Wii. Grandma sure has a mean right hook.
She sure does. This 5-in-1 pack-in with the Nintendo Wii was a force to be reckoned with, adding the novelty of motion controllers to sports like baseball, boxing, bowling, golf, and tennis. None of the hassle of real-life sports, save for the dangers of accidentally throwing something at your living room TV.
But for real, you didn't have to get up. You could just sit down and play. Did you ever do that?
No, I never sit down and play. Even with a controller, I'm always standing 2 feet in front of my TV.
I was expecting you to do a handstand.
Oh, great. You know who else sits down? The drivers of rocket-propelled cars that play oversized soccer.
Nice segue. You know what football has always needed more of? High-octane engines and a killer soundtrack.
I didn't even think about that. I just like rocket cars. Thankfully, Rocket League is here to fix those glaring oversights.
Rocket League is one of those games where the execution of a simple, absurd idea is so strong and engaging that it doesn't need a ton of extra features around it. At least that's what our reviews of it says. I'm just reading from a teleprompter. I'm Ron Burgundy?
You sure are. Rocket League is truly a game that's easy to pick up, but difficult to master. Matches are quick and exciting, and your success on the pitch is largely dependent on your willingness to try new strategies and take big risks.
Basically, Rocket League takes the best parts of racing and soccer and mashes them together to create a fun, competitive, and oftentimes goofy experience.
Next up is Football Manager 23. Believe it or not, it's about learning how to make scented candles.
Just kidding! It's a football management simulation game developed by Sports Interactive and published by Sega.
Football Manager 23 is widely considered to be one of the best football management simulators in the gaming world. And there are a lot. Trust me, you don't have to look it up.
This game provides a realistic representation of the world of football management and the various challenges that come along with it. Players take control of their favorite football team and, you guessed it, manage everything from player transfers to tactics to dealing with the media and securing the club's financial future. The game includes a massive database of real-life football players and teams, as well as a comprehensive tactical system that lets players create their own unique plans.
Football Manager 23 has a massive following of devoted fans who simply love to roleplay a management position.
How would you manage a football club?
Well, first, I tank it and get it for the insurance money.
All right, flipping off our next matchup of the wildcard region, we've got the game that inspired an entire generation to start listening to ska music and stop grabbing boards by the trucks. It's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 gave players tons of options to explore their creativity, including a skater creator, 60 pre-made skate parks, tons of boards to try out, plus a full course designer tool to shape your world exactly how you want it.
So if you've ever dreamed of becoming a skateboarding legend, or if you're like me and can't skate at all in real life, this game is for you. Plus, you can skate in cool levels like the hangar, school, and so many more. My personal favorite is Skate Heaven.
The commercial and critical success of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 cannot be understated. In our review, IGN gave it a 9.9. I don't know where it lost that 0.1 of a point on the score. It is criminal.
So close to perfection.
That's right. And it even won a Kids' Choice Award for crying out loud. And that's a big deal.
So, who is taking it on?
Skate 3. This game lets you create your very own skating team and earn notoriety by completing all sorts of activities and recruiting other skaters to join the crew.
Unlike its skating game contemporaries or previous entries in the franchise, Skate 3 offers online play and lets you share your highlights and designs with friends via the Skate.feed. So if you finally hit a 900 Super Dude off the top of the stadium in the University District, you can easily boast about it to your entire friend list.
Alan, what's a 900 Super Dude?
It's too complicated to explain right now.
It's just a 900 super dudes. IGN gave Skate 3 an 8, praising its impressive representation of skateboarding around and new audio treatment that will delight fans of the series.
Plus, with the ability to create custom maps and add elements like ramps and other obstacles to existing areas in any of the 3 districts of Carverton, Skate 3 is one of the most replayable titles in the skateboarding genre.
That's right, no matter how many times I play it, I never get bored. Let them get it. Like skateboard.
And you say that my jokes are bad.
I do.
Well,
and
they
everybody
are, to be
agrees.
Fair. And the final matchup sees the high-flying spectacle of sports entertainment meet the high-flying spectacle of coming down a mountain with a fresh layer of gnarly powder. It's the wildcard battle of the acronyms!
WWF No Mercy is a champion of wrestling games, praised for its excellent gameplay mechanics, wide range of characters, and engaging storyline mode.
With a roster of over 65 characters, including hidden legends like Shawn Michaels and Jerry Lawler, players could immerse themselves in the world of professional wrestling like never before. The game's 7 different titles, each with their own unique plots and matches, kept players coming back for more. The game also added new features like ladder and cage matches, as well as 7 different hardcore match areas and an expanded arsenal of weapons.
Additionally, players could create their own pay-per-view events, complete with custom-made arenas, ramp entrances, and matches. WWF No Mercy was also compatible with the Game Boy Color, making it a portable and accessible experience for fans on the go. With its outstanding gameplay, impressive graphics, and deep customization options, WWF No Mercy remains a beloved classic among wrestling game fans.
That is true. And going up against it, what is that, a bird? A plane?
Nope! Dropping in from the snowy mountaintops is SSX Tricky. IGN gave SSX Tricky a 9 and lauded the game for its over-the-top uber tricks and rivalry system that added a breath of fresh air over the previous games in the series.
SSX Tricky features a colorful cast of snowboarders, each complete with their own signature move. String together a high score in conjunction with a score multiplier to earn a tricky move, complete with Run DMC's It's Tricky, which we unfortunately cannot play for fear of the stream getting taken down.
But I am playing it in my head like it is currently playing.
Oh, me too.
License free. Also, no other game lets you do the worm while snowboarding down a mountain, so bonus points for that one.
Wait.
We did it!
We compiled the best sports game bracket and there were no glaring omissions. But before we wrap this up, let's check in with Specialist Harrop from the US Army esports team to let us know about a glaring omission we left out.
But before we do, I gotta know, Specialist Harrop, what personal or professional goal is the US Army helping you achieve?
Hey everyone! For me, the Army has helped me start my own family while living comfortably by providing the support, stability, and resources that people dream of. The sense of community among fellow soldiers has also made it easier to navigate life while prioritizing my needs. But enough about me. Back to the bracket. I think it's kind of funny that you both established the wildcard category without really naming any games that are actually wild. I mean, come on. IGN, you guys put Football Manager in there? How is that wild? I guess it's up to me to do it. Why did you leave Windjammers 2 off this bracket? Windjammers 2 was a top-down, Frisbee-style Pong game that features the fast action and hard hits of something like NFL Blitz. I mean, you guys at IGN gave it an 8 out of 10, calling it a worthy sequel to a retro classic that manages to improve upon the highly competitive arena with new characters, levels, and abilities that make this fighting game version of Pong incredibly addictive. It's a definitive arcade competitive game that features flying discs, fast action, and foosball-style command of geometry. Trust me, Windjammers 2 is a must-play for your next game night. If you're not too busy playing Football Manager. Back to you, Ben and Alan, and do better.
And with that, IGN's best sports video game Showdown has been built. I'm so sorry.
We've done the dirty work of setting the stage, but it's up to all of you at home to rock the vote. Tune into bestsportsgame.ign.com right now and start your vote.
Thanks to US Army Specialist Harrop and Staff Sergeant Edwards for keeping us honest.
Thanks so much for having us.
And we'll see you all April 15th at the Skillshot Arena in Atlanta, Georgia.
And thank you all so much for joining us. And for more on all things gaming, stay tuned to IGN.
All right, so who's going to win?
I think FIFA's going to take it.
No, it'll definitely be Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
That's a good choice. Well,
It's a family favorite.
may the best game win.
Yeah, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.